good day. My name is Toji Uwawa and I work for a company called RareVirtue Consulting. So today, RareVirtue is giving you a little tete-a-tete with a very controversial, should I say controversial topic that is hardly spoken of, especially in the corporate world. I have two beautiful ladies with me who are going to be joining me to dissect this topic. And before we get into what it is, I would love them to introduce themselves. So.
Hi, my name is Daisy Blackman.
Pleased to meet you. Hi, I'm Chinayama Okoronfo. Pleased to meet you too.
Okay, so the topic today is love at work. Somebody say When we talk about love at work, from a corporate standpoint, what are the modalities that guide it, right? Can we really have relationships in the office? Why should we have relationships in the office? Why should it be tolerated? Why should companies put out policies that guide these relationships? All this and more are what we are going to be talking about. But before we step into it, there are a few key things to note. First of all, relationships must happen in the corporate environment. It is something that has happened to the dawn of time and it will keep happening. You cannot avoid it. You cannot make the parties, involved in it feel shame, right? So what we can do is regulate the atmosphere in which it is being done and set guidelines for safe relationship in the office. So with that, I am going to move on to my first question. I think my first question is to you, Miss Chiri. You look like somebody who's been loved on this period.
Hallelujah.
My first question is, why do you think policies are important, from a corporate standpoint or HR standpoint? Why do you think policies are important for relationships in the workplace?
Thank you very much for that question. I'll start by saying romance cannot be exempted from workplaces. And so, like you said earlier, the way to regulate it is coming with policies, guidelines on how it will go about. Because these people work together. They see each other more than their family members. They spend more time at work. So you cannot totally remove romance from work. Because romance or no romance, work must go on. We must cancel out every risk that has to do with work romance. And not because people are in a relationship at work, then the company suffers. And then you as well could also suffer because you're not doing the right thing. And then it to get to legal, stuff and everything. So policies are very important just to help regulate, the things that come with romance and work.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you, Mrs. Daisy, where did you meet your husband? Did you meet him at work?
It was not at work.
Okay, so do you think workplace romance, do you think it's wrong, or you feel like it is the lack of boundaries while, executing, or should I say, practicing workplace romance that causes issues?
I don't think workplace romance is wrong. Like Christine said, these people literally stay or spend more time with their colleagues at work than family, because the time spent at home, even if we say it's 5 to 9, they sleep many hours from the 5 or of the 5 to 9. So it is only natural that when you spend time with someone, you begin to see all these sweet parts of the person. Oh, I like the way he just handled this issue.
Work husband and work wife.
Oh my Jesus. I like the way he's very hardworking, he's very focused, he's very, very focused. You need to see the quality of work. It's only natural that happens where feelings begin to go left, right, and center. So you can't really stop it, and we can't say it is bad. The thing, like you mentioned, it's the boundaries that matter. When you know that, okay, no matter what happens here, work has to go on. No matter what.
Yeah.
The goal of the company is not for you to meet a husband or a wife. The goal of the company is I want to make money.
Right.
So if that's at your, the forefront of your mind when you're at work, no matter the romance, you know that you definitely focus on work. So if you're able to set good boundaries at the workplace and you don't allow the whole I love you, you love me mix up with when you are given a responsibility that you need to meet up with here, I believe that it's not really a big deal. Workplace love can go on.
And then it has a lot to do with emotional intelligence as well.
Yes,
because
very
you cannot,
true.
if you're not mature emotionally, you might not be able to handle seeing the person you so care about at work and focus and do what you have to do while he passes here and or she passes. Then you have lost and all of that.
Once he passes, you're like, God.
But when you mentioning that made me feel like I think there are two let's say two aspects of this. There's the whole love in sense of the feeling part, and then there's the love in sense of actual purpose-driven relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we're saying about the feeling part, then I think that would be very surface. I don't know.
I don't think you can hide it. If there are butterflies in your tummy.
No. I'm not saying you shouldn't have butterflies be there. Yes, but there's a part where you transcend from butterflies to something more solid, because there are people that are just eyeing themselves at the workplace, and that's all. They just eye themselves. Nothing goes on. Nothing more structured comes out of that. Yes,
Yeah,
and that's why when those kind of people will easily get distracted.
But you also know that people that value PDAs a lot, and their love language is you touch
Why are you doing PDA in the office first off? That's why these policies, these guidelines are very necessary.
That's my woman. Baby, what are you doing? That's my man. Have you had lunch? Let's go for lunch together. It might not be the appropriate time for you to go for lunch.
Yes.
But because your man is going for lunch, you want to go for lunch. So all of those things, it might not really be how deep they are. They might be so very deep, but they still like the attention, the PDA, the holding of hands, the pecks here and then, not necessarily kisses.
Yes.
But they might want to, show everybody, that's my girl. That's my man. Yeah.
In my office. They're lucky I'm not their HR. What type of relationship do you think requires full disclosure, to HR and to management? Is it when you are just eyeing each other? Is it, when you've officially, like you said, when you've officially started courting, or you court in secret? When it's time to marry, you now send HR an email that 2 weeks to the wedding, and then you get so what type of relationship or what stage of the relationship do you think requires full disclosure?
So if the organization has a policy that says once you start dating someone, let the HR know, you do that. But if there's no policy or guideline regarding this, personally, I would not disclose my relationship if I'm just seeing this person, or we just started, to check if there's something here.
There's something there.
I will not want to disclose it. And then what they say, when you start telling everybody, you might just get jinxed and all of that. You start hearing things coming from different angles. So I would, personally, like I said, I would tell you when I feel like, okay, this guy has seen my parents, we're thinking of getting married and everything. I'll come to the HR. This person is now mine.
That is you personally. But what if the policy demands it that the moment you guys start a structured, what am I saying structured? When you guys start an official relationship, you have to communicate to
Then that is, you signed a contract with the organization that says blah, 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 this. And then when it gets to that, just be obedient and say what you're doing. And then it will also help you to, if you disclose on time, if the HR is a good person or the organization is an organization that has the staff interest at heart, be like, okay, what do you know about this person? This is what I know about
this person. Character,
yes.
Yes,
or this person has seen a couple of women. Let's hope this will work. Chip in here or there, because we all need each other.
If that's the policy of the organization, you have to abide by it. There's no two ways about it. But if it's not, then you have to, whatever works for you. But just know that you're on that train alone. If you now decide to keep it from your HR because there's no policy, whatever happens, if he now takes your things or moves into your apartment and sells your property when you're at work, you're not going to tell anyone. You have to bear the loss yourself.
Why do you feel like, people in the workplace, corporates, people, employees, why do you think that, the first instinct is to hide their relationship?
Okay, so when we're talking about this, I said I love love and I love work, but does love at work?
It works, yes, it works.
So that's the issue. They love their work and then they love love. That I believe that that's one of the major reasons why they try to hide it, because whether there is an actual policy or not, there is a tendency for immediately HR finds out and they're like, these people are already seeing themselves because they want to protect company for whatever information that they're trying to make very confidential. They're already thinking of sacking one person just by default without even knowing, okay, is this thing heading somewhere
Or not.
or not. So that's one of the reasons why they protect themselves. Number two, I believe that some of them are even afraid that what if it doesn't work?
Exactly.
You might hear, my enemies have struck in my
What if it
office.
doesn't work? They don't want that to be the case, or even if it's the case, they don't want everybody to have heard. And then they're telling, oh, sorry, so it didn't work out. So sorry
Next
about
time
that.
will work.
And then, yes, and so everybody knows your business. So that's one of the reasons why they protect themselves. First of all, if it doesn't work, I'm safe. Nobody really knows. Then if it works, if there's a possibility of it working, I don't want another person to be eyeing the man that I'm eyeing as well. So let's just keep it on the low.
What if the one that you are on a low is on a low with
Another
a couple other people?
Yeah.
So to all these things are merit and demerits.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you hide it and there are things you ought to know, you will not know them. If you say it and there are things that shouldn't be out there, it will come out.
Yeah.
So people will definitely talk about something that happened and did not work. And then when they don't know, they don't talk about it. But then you lose out to know if the man is Randy or not.
Yeah.
Those are the things. So you have to choose your battle.
Miss Chini, you work in corporate.
Yeah.
You're in management.
Hallelujah.
So, praise the Lord. So, how do you think policies help prevent conflict of interest during, situations where you have employees who are engaged in a romantic relationship? Right? How do you think the policies set by the organization help prevent conflict of interest?
So policies would help prevent conflict of interest. For instance, if they say husband and wife, you can work in this organization, but you're not going to work in the same department. So you see, it has done something by taking you off. We go to work together, but during the day, I might not get to see you, but we might text because you're far off from work. So for me to walk to that distance and come back, it's a lot for me, and I have a lot of things to do. So policies might also say a wife and a husband cannot be under the same reporting line. So it will avoid your wife coming to you, or your woman or your husband coming to you. Babe, do you know that the director did not sign this thing? And then because that's my husband, you can't treat my husband like that. Director is telling me to do something, and my face is that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So policies will help stop these things from happening. So we separate if we decide that we can, tolerate romantic relationships, people that are married in our organization, then we can separate their department and separate their reporting line to help reduce the risk that comes with romance at work and the risk that comes with working with your partner or with your spouse in the same space.
Yeah. There's also, an issue with having, I think, the two of you are privy to company information. Imagine have two people who are married and they are in the accounting department. So one
they can sell the company.
accountant, one is do you get? So the company is literally in your hands.
Yes.
Valuable, or should I say, extensive company information is within your grasp. So it's also protecting the employees and it's also protecting the company.
And this is extreme. So imagine somebody being in the accounting department and someone else being in the IT. So the IT is seeing everything that happens with the camera. The accountant has the money. That's a too sensitive department to have a husband and a wife.
Very true.
Or you have someone that is a director and you have your wife as the chief accountant. So you take out the married people or the people in relationships from those very sensitive positions if you must have both of them in the organization. So now you're limiting their career because of your policy. So it would be wise that one person leaves to another organization to have that career growth while the other person stays here to also grow.
The reason why we have to put all these policies in place is because you can't really vouch for humans. You can't say, I believe these people, they are good. They are good people. I know them.
I know them from the village.
They are very good. So that's why policies are in place, because even if they are good, sometimes when they have information in their hand, you don't really know how far they can take it. Yes, but I would still say that romance at work or work relationships is not really a bad idea if the people are people of integrity. For instance, I won't say they are IT, this kind of sensitive
situations, but I know a couple, I think they got married while they were working, but they were very, very important to the company. They had probably grown so much over the years that they did not have to tell anyone to leave. So they kept working in it. I don't know how close, but the departments were not so far. Until later, one was transferred to another department. But that transfer was not because they were married. It was just because, okay, there's a new setup now, you move there. And they have been working fine for a number of years. They told me this by themselves. So I was surprised, but so the company already found value in in that him and her, and they decided to let them stay. But it won't be the case everywhere. So I believe that it can work. It's just that the persons involved have to be full of integrity. But now we cannot measure it. There's no measuring tape for integrity. Because we can't measure integrity.
Peter was a man of integrity in the Bible, but he denied Jesus 3 times.
Yes.
So when situations are positioned in front of you,
you don't know how to measure.
Yes.
Actually.
So
it's easy to say I won't do that
until you
are there
with the situation. So I believe policies are just good. However, it is that however a company deems fit to protect themselves. This company is going, has been on for years before it became. We cannot just let everything go because of you and your relationship. So I believe it's a good thing to protect yourself, protect your company with policies,
and also protect the staff.
Yes,
because a lot of organizations go on with these policies that favor them, and then the staff welfare, they don't care. Because I cannot be working for you and I see a potential man and I cannot do anything.
You want to close my door to my forever.
And
relationships are not to have,
and then I go to church to pray, and then God has positioned somebody right in front of me. And because of your policy, I cannot tell you. That would not be nice. So the policies should favor both the company and the staff.
Okay. Yes. So this one is, a bit technical now. It's easier, right, when you are in a relationship with someone and you guys are in the same cadre, right? Because you are in the same. So now, what happens when you now find that you are attracted to someone whose reporting line is like way above you? We're talking. Wait now. We'll explore all the modalities to it. How do we make sure that we're pursuing it the right way?
That's a very tricky question. It is tricky because it's natural, first of all. Yes, I'll assume that the reporting line, let me assume that the higher person is the male and then the younger one is the female.
Why you assuming? No, I don't think there's any woman who would want to date her downline. There are women who will, but women are a bit classist for that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, so that's
why would I want to date my downline?
So welcome to the world where women don't care about your position these days.
What world? They just want to get married. They just want to get married.
They just want to get married. And they want someone that will give them peace of mind. Right now, women are not going for a man that can provide because we're doing it financially. Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
Yes.
There is no amount of money I am making. That's like my husband must be more and it should be in the providing shoes. That's my own theory.
So when I say women are not going for men that can only provide, so the younger cadre man might be earning, let's go to their salary, might be earning a 500,000, and you as the upper woman, you're earning a 2.5 million or 3 million take home. So from his 500,000, he can provide for you, but now it now depends on the kind of provision you want. So most women now are after men that have respect, that hear them out, that listen to them, that pay attention, and that are intentional. So it's no longer about those days where he's making money or anything he says goes. That's why we're having a lot of people break up their homes. Because now women have moved from he's providing everything to he's intentional about me. He listens to me.
Actually.
Yes, he brings in his little money, but he listens. So we talk well. The men that have all the money in the world cannot sit down and hear you speak. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Because if I'm giving you everything, what do you have to gist with me? But this younger boy you're saying that is in the lower kid, you say, hey mama, what's the problem? How was your day? And then you go and say everything. Then like, it's okay. Foot rub, head massage, wash your hair, do all of that, and still make money. And then at that point, you are partners.
I think you're buying her over.
Nobody's buying me. Don't give me the foot rub. Someone to do it.
This other guy, by your help and your connections, you can push him up better than where.
Matters are rising.
And so dash him up where? In the company or in another company?
There are contracts. He mustn't be there working. So he can be working there and with 500k and you guys are running your stuff. But he's doing jobs that are giving him 10 million. So to others, he's a small boy. But to you, you know what he is.
Okay, so let's go back to the question back then. So up romance, yes, romance. So
Yeah.
he said we handle a guy and a girl. Yes.
It's the age range, okay. Although now they said 18. So if he's 52, first, is he single? If he's single, then does she like him enough? Did they agree? If they agree, then it's not my business. So what I would have that would be an issue there is favoring her over every other staff.
Favoritism.
That would not be nice. Decision making, bending rules for her. If you know you can't do A for her and do A for B for every other person, then don't do A. So that's where there'll be an issue with work. But as far as they agree and then he's single, because if he's married, his wife can storm into the office and disrupt activities, and that would be also a problem for our organization.
Yeah.
So I will not allow married people, and the policy will not allow that you're down there, you're dating a married man, taking him away from his family. It can cause problems. But if he's single, a divorcee or a widower, I don't really have a problem. Just know how to manage it, and please, no favoritism. She will lose her job, or you will lose him.
Yeah.
So both of you should have a way of managing that kind of relationship.
Yeah, I think this brings me to the point that you can't really do love at work if you're not mature to a very large extent.
Yeah.
Because it is natural for you to want to favor the person you're in love with. Yes, for whatever reason. No, don't worry, that one can pass. But if you are mature and you guys have an understanding that if I don't allow everybody else to, don't expect this from me if I won't permit this. And she's understanding, and it's not even do this for me, so I might know your girl. We don't need that here.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it takes a certain level of maturity and serious agreement, serious communication for it to be able to work. If not, favoritism is very most true.
That brings me to also saying that if, just for instance, you're married, Mrs. Daisy. So if you have your husband in an organization and you're below him, it's normal for you to, if they ask you to come to work by 7, you might be there by 6:30. Because you don't want to put yourself in the position where your husband will be questioned.
Yes.
So if you're in love or you're in a romantic relationship with someone top there, it's expected of you to behave, to comply 200% with all the rules. So nobody's speaking to you for not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You're avoiding everybody by doing the right thing.
Yeah, true.
That should be the way to go. It's just like having your mom working in an organization where your mom, this is not a romantic relationship. So imagine making your mom write you a query.
Yeah.
That's crazy because she has to do that.
Yeah.
So if you know you have someone in an organization that you care about and the person also cares about you, so try comply with all the rules. And please do, if you have to be absent from work, write appropriately. So that when they say, she wrote too.
Yeah,
and then so you're exempted in some way from all the
the issues
and then the queries or the disciplinary measures that comes with not being obedient or compliant. So and that should be the way to go to.
Yeah, I totally agree.
We're going to go into something that I feel is very, very dicey. Right? That's the aspect of corporate, should I say, manipulation, right? Either from a top person or it could be someone the same kid as you, because as HR definitely we can have issues that surround when a higher cadre person is trying to manipulate the lower cadre in order to be in a relationship with them, right? They feel if I'm in a relationship with this person, either what's the word? I get to learn better, or I will just be more preferred, or don't worry, I will make sure that
I'll get the eyes of every other person.
Thank you very much. Or a good example is, when someone comes to work in an organization, let's say an example, as an intern, right? The person works as an intern. Now there is a higher cadre person there who is interested, yes. And they say, if you're in a relationship, let me mentor you. Thank you very much. If you're in a relationship with me, right? After your internship, I will make sure that you stay. These kind of things, right? So I want to, from a HR standpoint, right? How can we make sure that these people are sensitized about these things without making it seem like, okay, I know what you are doing, I know what's going on? Because definitely as HR, and if you've been in the organization, you will know how this person works, especially if it's someone in top management, right? So as HR, how can we protect these people, or what are the modalities that we can set to make sure that these things are curbed? Am I making sense?
So I feel like it starts with the onboarding. Okay. So when these interns come to work with you, it's part of the things you should enlighten them about. That's not that it happens there. You're not pointing fingers, but nobody should promise you a job. It's strictly based on performance management. Your KPIs, how you performed. Or we are interning you right now, we are training you right now, but we don't have this capacity or space to get you, to absorb you when you're done. So just take your training and move on. But if you perform well, we can recommend you to an organization that will take you. So do not let any staff, talk you into, sleeping with them or having a romantic relationship with them in order to retain you. And this is what we call harassment at work. So at that point, it's no longer a romantic relationship, because the intern might not want to go out with him, but she feels like it's part of the prerequisite to get a job.
Yes.
And then she has to be there. And if you look into that kind of relationship, the other guy is bullying her. There's a lot of abuse going on, both sexually, emotionally, physically, and otherwise. So it's just enlightening them first, letting them know that, hey, nobody has the key to you being retained here. But when you perform well, of course, we are going to appraise you afterwards. We can't absorb you, but if we can absorb you, we'll take you. But if we cannot take you and you perform well, we'll recommend it to other organizations that will be able to take you in, and then let it sink into their heads that it has been said. And then, if possible, consent forms they can sign that they went through this training that said so and so things. So you have your signature there. Tomorrow, if somebody molests you or hurting you, you can tender the consent form that you sign. You signed this and you were trained. You heard this.
I totally agree with this. And I don't know if a lot of companies practice this actual onboarding and training them on sexual harassment and all these things, because it's very sensitive. And sometimes it's possible that the people who engage in this are those at the top that you cannot speak against.
Yes.
Because if you do it, you'll be like, oh, you taught them this, right? What are you trying to do? You HR, you want to do your job? So that's another thing.
Yes.
But then individuals should also know there's a training we had at some point in RareVirtue Consulting, where it became a mini therapy session, where we found out that people who had been working for years had been working under fear, simply because they were afraid to leave their current job to, in quotes, into the air to figure out something else. Why? Because I don't know if I'll get another job after this one. Which other good opportunity will come for me? So there was a sense of lack working in their minds, so they did not want to move. And they mentioned some things that they have been going through with their bosses, some of them with their bosses' families, and nobody could do anything about it because they are just in a very simple position, so they don't have any power, and so they stayed there being harassed and oppressed. So is that I'm telling you,
therapy session.
So what you just said, sorry to cut you off.
Yes.
Somebody growing up, somebody said, you cannot be afraid of what you have not tried. Step out of your comfort zone. You cannot be in a hole, in a box, and know what is happening in the open air. That's what people don't get to. Just like you said, they are afraid of living, but you don't know what the future holds
there for you.
So you can't grab what is in the future if you don't step into the future.
Yes.
So people should, I don't know, since I heard that, it's been like, what's going to happen? I don't care, let's go.
What's the worst that can happen?
And then I want to ask for something. I told you, can you give me your pen? I told you we say no. Let her say no. I'll come and ask you.
Yeah.
When you say no, I've removed the fact that I've asked you for something and you said no.
Yeah.
So then you just got options. Thank you.
Yeah. And to add to what you're saying too, in fact, I recommend every HR manager and every organization has to be very emotionally intelligent. And they should be able to see beyond the surface.
Yes.
Because a lot of things will be going on with your staff and you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Because all you know is policy. Did you sign? Give me the document. That's all. We are done.
You know they look face.
Yeah.
You know they look face.
What time did you come to the office? You missed your query, this and
You
that.
must look face as a
You
HR.
have to. You have to see beyond the surface. So that you can, even if you don't say it directly, there's some things you will say. They will begin to see you as a leader, someone that they can confide in.
Yes.
Their problems with.
Yes.
Then they'll be able to open up. You know how to guide them from there.
Yes. Because it's one step at a time, growth. We
Yeah.
cannot all learn in a day.
Yeah.
Really.
Wow, this is an amazing. So sometimes I get lost. Like when you guys are done, I'm like, wow, I have to ask another question. Okay, should disclosure of a relationship be mandatory in an organization?
It shouldn't be mandatory, but it should be written somewhere in the policy. It should be stated that, okay, so we permit married people, but not in the same department. We permit siblings, but not in the same department. Or we do not permit relationship. We do not permit married people. We do not permit. So when you state it like that, they know whether to come to you or not. And then when you say you do not permit, and then it's happening low key. Yeah, so it just depends. So if you permit it, you write it there. If you don't permit it, then you don't permit it. But that means you saying you don't permit it means people would have relationships under your nose, and it will not happen. And it's also not being realistic to say you don't permit work relationships. Because I work in an organization where I see people every day, 10 hours, 8 hours, 5 times a week. I probably do not see anybody. I don't have the time. When I get home, I'm tired. So even if I hang out with the people that I'm supposedly to see, it's 1 hour. I'm not seeing how smart they are. I'm not seeing how they tackle challenges. I'm not seeing how they relate with one another. So those are the things I look out for, especially for people that are not all about the beard gang, the pot body. Sometimes it's in the head. You're falling in love with what the person has upstairs.
True.
So if you're saying you don't permit work relationships, then that organization is on a long team. So it's better you state what you actually permit and then state how they go about it. If you want the disclosure, state it there. And then if you don't want the disclosure, also state it and tell them at what point you want them to disclose. I think that will be it for me.
You agree, Jason?
I agree, but I think they should disclose it.
Should be mandatory.
It should be. That's what I
At what stage?
When it's serious. Because even normal friends hang out. So we don't know your
Work husband, work wife.
Yes, there's that. We after work, we just hang out. We don't have any extra thing we're doing. I don't have anywhere to go. Let's just hang out for 1 hour, 2 hours, and there's no issue at all.
People say man and woman are different.
Wow.
Yes, it's another age. Working and why are they?
I've learned a new one now today.
Broken and one.
Working and why are they? So a man and woman cannot be friends.
So I think it can be stated when they should. Initially, they are just hanging out.
Yes.
So when it's getting serious, they should disclose so that the management will know how to.
Because
I can imagine.
What's your definition of getting serious?
When you see that you are looking at this person in a type of way that looks like he or she is going to be your wife or your husband, yes, then disclose that we are in a relationship.
You can't spend life without each other.
Relationship.
Thinking like
Yes,
that.
we're not just dating and seeing other people. Now, I think I like this guy and I want to marry him. Or yes, we like ourselves to that. Because I mentioned the people who were working together and ultimately got married. I know there's a backstory. I think they started working together there. I can't remember how. But imagine what's the word now? Management found out later. It would have been so weird that these guys are really serious and they didn't tell us anything. It's very fishy. We don't know whether to trust you. If you cannot tell us that you're in a relationship.
Imagine going to a restaurant and you see 2 of your colleagues there. Johnny.
Yes, and you're like, what?
Not be that, just be that.
Do you understand? understand? So I won't feel safe that
Are they discussing the organization?
Yes.
Do they want to sell us?
Yes, so that's how I feel. So just make it mandatory so everybody knows what to do.
Okay. So how should HR handle complaints regarding workplace romance?
Complaints. That means it's not just there's now PDAs, there's now
Yes, so they are doing PDA. Yeah. The other staffs, they are not okay with it because they want to focus that it's only you people that
they're taking it far that you want to reuse the restroom. The both of them are locked.
Hallelujah. That's how to be husband-wife relationship. Okay, so I think there could probably be a policy book for relationships.
Exactly. Yes.
Specifically,
It should be a sub, a 3.0 or a 5.0
yes,
in the
what is
policy
not allowed.
And then it's not even enough to write this policy handbook because how many staff go through it?
So we'll have to train them on it. If I'm immediately a people, what is this staff now?
Yeah.
When they come to you and say, "Oh, we're in a relationship, we'll do training next week."
Yeah.
So
this is
so
what is allowed.
does you into the relationship. Relationship in the workplace, so everybody knows. If you say it often enough, I think everybody will be aware.
Yes.
So it will be very obvious when you are stepping out of line because you have been told.
Yes. Okay. And then also, companies, organizations should put cameras everywhere. So also let these people know that we're telling you the right things to do, and we can also see our eyes on you. You can do it at home. So we don't care. We're not here at work, so that every other person will be able to work.
What does consent look like?
Consent look like regarding relationships?
Yes.
Consent is okay. I have my colleague I like. He has asked me out, and we have agreed to be in a relationship. So I've consented to him being my boyfriend and me being his girlfriend. So you have to define exactly what you're doing with this person, and then in a space where you have to disclose. Me, if I'm really serious or I don't trust the person very well, I'll go and ask my HR. I used to work for in an organization where a new guy came. He looked like everything I like, and then the guy was asking me, and somehow I'm FBI. I know things. I find out things. I might not look very, observing or very detailed, but I'm seeing everything I need to see. And then I went to the HR, how far? And then good enough, I and the HR were cool. I was like, what's up with this guy? Is he married? And they gave him what's up? First he was married. And he told me he wasn't married. Because he thinks that I'm a good girl and I will not accept him if he told me he was married. I mean, what are you looking for?
Very intentional.
Yeah. You understand? So you're consenting to, you have to be sure of what you're consenting to. And sometimes the HRs come in handy. Ask them because they know they have the details of everybody. So you don't dabble into what you don't understand.
I think I totally agree. I consent to.
We have consent to her consent.
We have been in a relationship, but she has said everything. Like, be wise about it.
Yes.
People are actually deliberately wicked.
Yes.
They plan to hurt you. They know what they are trying to do. So, of course, you don't live in fear. Every minute, you're looking over your shoulder that maybe he's out to get you.
Yeah. Is that what you're going to be doing? Instead of making money and, thinking, yes, you're now busy monitoring somebody.
As HR, right, professionals, how do we usually deal with a situation where, there is a staff who consistently does this type of things, right? But how does the HR come in this type of scenario with this type of person?
So it depends on who the person is. You can directly inform the person and warn him strictly. That's if he's very valuable. Because no man is indispensable. If he's very valuable that you cannot do without the role he plays and you cannot replace him easily, then you should speak to him, admonish him corporately or professionally about what he's doing because it has come to the limelight.
Yes.
But if he's not that valuable, get someone that has the skills or even better and take him off your company because he's a bad egg. He will cause nuisance.
Ruining the culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if the culture of the company is that everybody outside say, there's this guy there that messes up girls. The organization has a dent.
Well, that's what they're always doing.
Yes.
Everybody's dating themselves and things like that. Yeah.
And say tomorrow you come in with 2 girls or 3 girls pregnant for one person. How do you handle that kind of standard? So he has to be really valuable to keep him. If he's not that valuable, then we don't need him. While he's there, while you're admonishing him, start plans. Be proactive to group someone or to recruit someone and groom the person to fill in the gap immediately. Yeah. He might come in as an assistant, and then he thinks he has an assistant. He has more time to, be randy. Gradually, the assistant takes over, and then he's out.
I saw a movie yesterday that said, "Not all money is good money.
Not all money is
Not all staff or skills are good for your company. So if it to take more for you to train other people or recruit more, that's a cost that the company should be willing to pay because the consequences of that person's staying is greater than whatever amount you're trying to save the company. Yeah, the culture, like you said, everything is actually culture. Every culture is everything. Rather, however you want the company to operate is based on culture. So if this person is already spoiling it, and it matters to you the kind of culture you are building for your company, you can go.
And then one person can, groom other people to behave like him. Gradually, you're keeping this person thinking that, oh, he's so good. Before you know it, 2 other guys will start.
Yes.
All the men in the organization, they are like that now. So they are passing, they are rotating the females. And probably the females, they don't have enough sense to know this is what is going on. Before they realize, exactly, before you know it, all of them are being used by the same guys. So these things you have to remove the bad egg before it corrupts the good.
Immediately. And I think it's very important, as a HR, to be able to establish some degree of trust and empathy for the staffs in the organization, because if they don't trust you to talk, they won't talk to you. Nobody's going to say any, and a lot of things are just going to be happening under your nose. So even as you are the person who enforces, the policies in the organization, you should also, should I say, have an open door policy where people can come and talk about things that they might be ashamed to even talk to another staff about. And also, if they do not trust you with confidentiality, that's the end.
Because they know that they tell you something around.
And sometimes too, if you suspect things like this is going on in the office, you can, create anonymous questionnaires based on sexuality, workplace relationship. People should just fill it out. No names. We just want to know what is happening. Or sometimes, let's know how are we doing, the management, how are we treating you? How am I doing? Create a questionnaire about yourself.
Yeah.
And then let people, assess you. And then you read what people are writing. I know some people can be funny, but 4, 5, 3, 10 persons cannot really lie.
Yeah.
You get 1 point from all of them. So that means you have something to work on.
Yeah.
So sometimes it goes beyond talking to questionnaires. Okay, today we're having a knowledge sharing on workplace sex or workplace harassment or workplace affair, and then you share questionnaires, fill it out. You can give everybody fill with blue pen, everybody fill with any color of pen you want. We don't want to know. You can change your writing if your writing is so that everybody knows that's how you write.
Yeah.
Just make it anonymous, and then let's see what everybody has to write. That will really help to get feedback from your employees. Sorry.
Okay. So I have another question. Right, this one, I don't know if we're now going to answer it as HR professionals or as fellow co-employees or what's the word? So, how should breakup be properly handled?
Breakup. How should it be handled at work?
Yes, you were just on Slack, and the next thing they sent you is over.
Sorry, it's not me. It's not you. It's me.
And then, so when you're starting a relationship, a work relationship, you should also know that relationship or no relationship, your work must be done. That email must be responded to. The email must be sent. Revenue must be generated. If you have those things in the back of your mind, as you're seeing the bill, you're pushing it aside, you handle it, continue work.
You are not strong.
No, we're human beings.
You have a strong woman.
We're human beings.
Oh my God.
It will shake you a little bit. But you cannot lose your relationship and lose your job.
So be wise.
So you have to choose one. I had a friend that her boyfriend broke up with her the day she had her PLAB 1 exam. PLAB 1 is a UK medical exam. She closed the message, read for the exam, wrote it, passed, and cried for that relationship. You cannot pay a lot of thousands of pounds for and then somebody broke up with you. That's even a miracle for people that understand how relationship works. That he left or that she left is a miracle. You would have done something serious with someone that would have frustrated you all your life. So we should also see the good part of breakups. Yeah. And just also know that I'm dating my colleague at work, work must go on. Whether today he woke up on the good side or whether we fought last night. Because it's even sometimes not break up. It's sometimes we're arguing or we're not in good terms.
Yeah.
And then your face is all day. No, I will not tolerate it.
Especially if it was disclosed. Also, the HRs should also let them know that, yes, we appreciate that you guys are seeing each other. We wish you all the best. But please, it should not affect work. Whether you're having issues in your relationship, or you caught him in a restaurant with another girl, and you are yet to, or you caught her in bed with a man, those things should not interfere with work. So that's why emotional maturity comes into play too.
True, very true.
Because I'm no longer in a relationship, doesn't mean I should lose my job that's giving me. Because if you're not there and I don't have my urgent money, how am I going to do
You are a strong woman. There are a lot of people that once that message comes in, right? They can't. I think they can't.
Well, that would have been during the university days. Now I think I'm so grown that we move.
Everyone, oh my sweet Jesus, oh right,
we move. Some people have
Would you push one aside and just carry
no, but
on?
my own is serious. Her own is very sensitive in this case, and because she's married,
No, let's assume that she's asking.
a single person.
Yes, like in a situation where.
Because me, I don't think I would be able to focus.
No, you will. It's just like saying somebody lost. Or maybe another way to this is also talking to your HR. Can I take today off? If you don't have a lot of things to do.
so well.
I don't feel so good.
HR, do we give days off like that?
So that's when if you disclose. If you don't disclose, you can make an excuse that you are probably you're feeling unwell today. You want to rest. And then tomorrow, make sure you're coming back well.
Yes.
If you didn't disclose. But if you disclose, you can tell the HR, this is what happened. And I cannot seem to concentrate. Please, can I take the left of today off? And then if the HR sees that it can be fitting, she can say, okay, go and rest, please come back to work tomorrow. That's it. So if that is not allowed, and then you have to work, you know that people say they lost their parents. As sensitive as that, I'm sorry, the person is gone. Life moves.
I know what she says. I was insensitive, but it's true.
That is, yes. So that's why
I understand that you are 100% correct. But you know me, I'm trying to think from another perspective of not everybody has the type of mindset that you
I'm no longer entry level.
So there are sometimes they're like, it's easier said than done.
So when I was entry level,
this is the most important thing to do, right? This is the most important. Work goes on. They know it, but they can't help how they feel at that moment. And despite the fact that you are not entry level, people are different. How you react to
that's why I said. So if there are opportunities where you can, I lost my mom today because I've worked in places where people lost their siblings. And please, can I take the rest of today off? We even let you go. I'm just feeling. That's why. So there should be a level of communication between the staff and the employers.
Yeah.
So when you want to sort out things like this, think of the other options that does not involve your employer. Sometimes first, the employers, people filling in for you should be the last option. That way, you see that you have ways to do things.
It's when everybody has a sense of responsibility for the organization, then this will pass. Because I know that this, for instance, we have a project coming up, or we have an event we are planning for, or there's this deal.
I know the team lead.
Yes, I had the team lead. And you know that if you close that deal like this, there's a little something that's coming for you. You would, even if you just had a breakup or something happened, we're not saying that it doesn't hurt. Or there are no, you won't feel a certain type of way, but you will still consider if you have a sense of responsibility.
Yeah, definitely.
And also communicate clearly.
Yeah. So sometimes people don't want to meet the HR to tell them, give me some days off, because they think the HR will say, no, go and meet first. That's what we said earlier. Try. HR, please, I need the rest of the day. I can't concentrate. Or you write a mail if you're a remote worker. And then my mental health is not...
They will leave you. If you can't do anything at work that day, you are typically useless to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So the HR can go. Don't worry, just
know that the work you've not done, if it's not time bound, it's still waiting for you. Because when you come back, you will not have ample work to do. Yeah. And just make sure you come back strong and continue from where you stopped.
It's eye-opening.
Okay. We're almost
almost getting to the end of this conversation. So, I have 2 more questions. The first one is, how should colleagues respond if, favoritism is perceived or has been perceived in the workplace between, 2 co-workers or, a line manager and the downline? How should this be communicated? What should be done?
Just be sure of what you have to say. Be sure of what you perceive. Be sure it's nothing personal.
So also jealousy.
Jealousy. And then communicate well. Instead of talking about it or making it a gossip, go and communicate to the right person, which is the HR man. Speak to her and then hoping that the HR would know how to handle it. So the HR also has to start looking out for evidences. Whether you have to capture pictures or whether but you must have evidence. Because anything you don't have evidence for,
you don't have the right to speak about it. So you've been informed, you've been given up a tip. So look for evidences, hold it, and then call these people separately, speak to them. When if you think you've done it, then call them together and talk to them together. So you've done your job. Then you now also keep an eye to know if they have. But colleagues should not talk about it. They shouldn't make it gossip, because when you start gossiping about people, you also make them uncomfortable working. And then somewhat the environment is then toxic. So you don't have to talk about it within yourselves. Talk to the HR. And then you don't also have to go over the HR and start telling the general manager or the principal partner or the COO. You have to do it according to the process. So if the HR is not your direct reporting line, talk to your supervisor. The supervisor also has to now bring it to the HR. If it's not something within his department that he can handle, and then if he thinks it's a personal problem, take it to the HR. HR will say, okay, supervisor, I'm going to do this. You'll be there when I'm meeting them individually. And then when I'm meeting them together, you'll also be there. So we know that this chain of reporting line was involved.
Yes.
And then if you're done with the verbal talk, sometimes you can send emails, telling that regarding our last meeting or conversation, this is what we agreed on. And so I expect that copy the right persons. It has been done officially. Yes. So that tomorrow, nobody will say, it was just a meeting. There's nothing to show that we had a meeting and all of that. So I think that's my own approach to colleagues talking about favoritism.
There's of course that fear of not wanting to lose your job sometimes always there. But I think that if you notice that there's favoritism between someone higher and then a colleague like you should be willing to stand your ground on certain things where you're supposed to lose all the advantages that should come to you because of that. And you should be willing to say no and be fair on certain things. Not disrespectfully though, but be courageous enough to be able to do that. If not, you will bear the disadvantages. It will fall on your lap. You will take the extra work, you will take the whatever, because so you're going to do this for me now. And you know that it's not your work, it's not your job. It's supposed to be for the person who is being So you must be willing to say, oh sir, I sincerely apologize, but that's not for me, that's for her. People are afraid to speak at work, and they don't know that if you are afraid to speak, you will bear the consequences of not being able to speak. Someone else who is tougher would get away with it, but you, because you are timid, you will not get away with it. The consequences will come to you. So if that's the case, because sometimes you report it and nothing is done, because whoever the lineman or whoever the favoritism is going on with is someone who is really superior and there's nothing you can do about it, and be willing to stand your ground in certain opportunities like this. I can't do this, I have to leave work or whatever it is that comes up. So I think that's what you should do.
Okay, so you also know that standing your ground, maybe in terms of giving out jobs or your every employment letter says that you're going to do all of this plus any other additional task. So remember that this person that is giving you these jobs to do is probably your supervisor, someone ahead of you. He has the right to give you that additional task. That's why sometimes, you can stand on the additional task. Depending on what the task.
That's what I meant by
that's why sometimes you're standing your ground. Also get somebody that's maybe in the HR form to stand with you, so that they will not say, okay, you're being disrespectful. You signed the letter that says you can do every other role, and now I'm giving you additional roles and you're standing your ground. Because what proof do you have that I'm
favoring the other person? Unless you have cameras, pictures, maybe letters or gifts that have been sent to the office. So before you start, doing that, yes, you should have proofs.
Yeah.
So that when tomorrow they said, okay, you're leaving the organization based on disrespect. How?
Or insubordination.
Look at my proofs. I captured you on camera.
Or it's usually better when more than one person is saying the same thing. Like it's now a couple of people that are because affirming what someone has already said when HR does their investigation.
Yes.
So you have to be tactical about it.
Yes.
You don't just start outrightly being
yes.
Yes.
And then you can also have people that have experienced that stuff, but because they will not go with you, their mother is in the village, they need that money. They will not say it.
Yes, that's true.
Because they have a lot of bills to pay.
They
are ready to be under that insubordination to collect that money.
Yes.
So you also have to be sure that
options, if you know that it works for you, and if you lose, it won't be a big deal.
Exactly.
So it has to be, what are you willing to take?
Exactly.
And if you lose the job, would that work for you?
Yes.
But there are situations where it's not negotiable. You rather lose your job.
But lose the job rightly. Lose it in the right way. That's why you need to involve both your supervisors, the HR,
everybody.
And then if you have to go, you're going, and then when you need a reference letter, the organization is not saying no, she did not behave well, she was sacked.
Yeah.
But they'll know that this lady spoke up and she couldn't stay, not because we didn't want her anymore.
Yeah.
She couldn't stay because she could not work with that person. In that
was
yes.
So,
that's it.
So I'm coming from the angle of where, of course, the first angle was when you are being given tasks that are not yours, maybe because they are favoring someone else. Then you, of course, if the person has followed this due process, reporting to whoever necessary, you can now begin to stand your ground.
Yes.
But then there was a situation where in the training that we had, that one particular girl was complaining about how her boss was treating her. I can't remember the details completely, but it seemed like the other person had an advantage over her, and it was because the boss liked her and she was not willing to give him any time of day. And so he started favoring another one simply because she wasn't giving him what he wanted, and she was afraid. She was there and she was afraid to leave, afraid to stand her ground because she did not want to lose her job. And we had to tell her that if that was it takes, be ready to lose your job.
So in that case too, it's just maybe the person is actually younger. When you start noticing things like that, start putting out your CV, applying, whatever faith you belong, praying. It's not easy. See, when you just jumps to lose your job, apply.
Yes, quickly, because you can whatever it's your life or your deal.
And for someone in that situation, right? How do they stand their ground intelligently? Because like this said, not everybody has the
support system.
Yes, has the support system or has the willpower to just I just want to start looking for a job immediately. There are people who, when they get an employment, right, they have a timeline that, okay, I'm going to be here for the next 3 years, I want to grow, and then you are coming in the next 2 months because of that situation that happened. You're already looking for a job or something. So I think from a HR standpoint, right, when you notice these things, right, it's good to put it in writing. Yes. Because all these things they are telling you orally, right? If you know that you are that part of that work you are not supposed to be doing, always send an email and CC the person. BCC, do you get when they ask you to do something, right? I'm pretty sure that when the tasks are assigned, there are people who know that it's for the other person.
Yeah.
So when you want to do fight these things intelligently. Yeah. When you want to do, or when you are submitting the task, put as requested and tag every other person so they know that this person's job is being given to you to do.
Thank you. When you're done every day or at the end of the month, state everything that you
Thank you very much.
So I'm reporting. Hi, Miss Toju. At the end of this week, I was able to do
XYZ.
So that tomorrow, let's say that job is for you, me, and other people. They say that it's me, and then copy those other people like your colleagues so that they will see
documented.
Tomorrow when I'm leaving, they will not be like, you are not useful. you'll be
Do you
doing a lot of
understand?
things.
And you know the funny thing, what somebody meant as Bible say, what he meant as harm towards you, you are now using to build your career because you can take on more. And these are tasks that you can actually defend. So before we move to be ready to risk, I think in the corporate there are ways to stand your ground intelligently, not just I'm just going straight to report.
Yes, and that person too, that he or she that is being favored is doing he or she himself. Yes, because you're not learning the work you're supposed to learn from. Most of the things we are doing as corporate people, we did not learn them in school.
Yeah.
You learn them on the job. And then, keep stretching, you see yourself taking more and doing more. And then all those things as they come in, you're learning. Tomorrow, how can you do this? Yes, it's no longer theory. It's practical. And when you bring it, I'll show you that I can do it. So you're doing yourself a favor, and the person feels like, they are favoring me. The person is getting empty and empty.
The funny thing about those types of scenarios is they always believe that person is going to stay in that role forever.
Exactly.
That is so weird. Like, does he or she own the company? Like, how are you so confident in being so mediocre? It doesn't make any sense.
And then power will change hands.
Actually.
When it changes hands, the people that are very valuable.
Yes. Definitely.
There's no situation or condition that is permanent, they say. So today your person might be there. Tomorrow my person comes. And it's not going to be about my person now. It's that when they call me, I can deliver.
Yeah.
You can't.
Definitely.
And then you can't. So you're going to now probably be my PA or someone I'm interning.
Yes.
Because when we were supposed to grow together, you were busy getting all the favors.
Yeah.
So but like you said, go about it tactically, intelligently. Make sure you go about it that way.
Yeah.
And you
can always ask questions.
Put it in writing.
In corporate, it's very important to have a mentor or have people who have gone before you, right? So in case you hit a snag, you can always ask questions or ask, from your colleagues or anything. Oh, this is the situation I'm facing now, right? You'll be surprised. They'll tell you, I have somebody who faced similar situation. How did they go about it?
And then we all are on social media. You can use the corporate platform like LinkedIn.
Yes.
And then go and tell the story in a third place. Use the she and he. You're not even telling them that you're the one.
Yeah.
And then you see people coming to your rescue and giving you solutions. It's your story, but now you've told it in a third place. And then you've gotten the responses that would help you navigate that situation.
Yeah.
So those are the things we need to leverage on all this. It's not just about pictures and and everything.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Okay. My final question. Finally, guys. So when it comes to office romance, right? What role do you think HR should play? So I have 3 options here. Should the HR be the mediator, advisor, or enforcer?
Mediator, advisor, enforcer.
What role do you think HR should play?
All of them.
Depending on the situation.
So you wait. One of them depending on the situation. Who goes first? I think go first.
So mediator, I believe that you are bringing people together or helping them navigate the process. Yes. So it depends on how mature you perceive they are, or what you know about both of them.
Yeah.
Mediator. What's the next one?
Advisor.
Which one? Advisor. In the case where there's someone younger than you and who has a bit of less experience, maybe a bit naive, and just wow by this really cute guy, charming guy. It's like, oh, I really like him. He's one I've always wanted to be with. Yeah. So you come in as an advisor to oversee what's going on. Is she just head over heels, or there's something solid coming here? So you can play the role of an advisor. Then enforce. What are you even going to enforce it?
Policy.
As an enforcer, okay, that's very true. Enforce the policies of workplace romance, and I think that's basically what you're doing to enforce it.
So you think it's depending on the situation
and people
involved.
Yes.
So you get to play in different key roles depending on what is going on at that time in the organization, or what you are met with or what you are told. Okay, so
that's basically it. You wear different coats when you need to.
So you're saying the same thing, just different perspectives.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you need to be a mediator, you wear the shirt of a mediator.
when you need to be an advisor. Of course, you put on the shirt of an advisor. And when I think at all times, you need to be an enforcer, but mildly, So all times we have you as an enforcer, but now you're in between mediator and advisor. And so just to know when, because apparently if my HR is a young person and then you have a situation with elderly people, maybe people that are not so elderly but in their 40s or 50s, I mean, there's little or nothing you have to advise them. Unless you're someone that is very insightful too. It's just to find a way to know when you need to be who. And then be that person for the people you're talking to.
Yeah. Before we go, I mentioned that my company is RareVirtue Consulting. We are a human resource and business consulting organization. Yeah. So I know we talked about policies. These are, this is one of the most important documents an organization is supposed to have. So if you need help with, redrafting your policy, making a new policy from scratch, enforcing your policy, we're right here for you. RareVirtue is here for you. Just call us, the number will be displayed on the screen, or you can reach out to any of our customer support agents or reach out to us on our social media platforms. Thank you so much and have a lovely day. Love courageously, love boldly, love correctly, love intentionally, love intelligently, in all, just love moderately. All right, have a lovely day. Bye.